Yo, Bar,
Lloyd, happening.
Knockhill.
Well, it was a happening event, it was really good.
Okay. So we had 3 days of racing at Knockhill, incorporating the modified Ford series. And what makes Knockhill unusual, Barry, is it's the only circuit in the UK where you get to go both directions.
Yeah, clockwise, kind of the standard way, and they do anti-clockwise as well, and we were lucky enough that the weekend we were there, we got to do both. It was exciting times.
How did preparations for Knockhill go?
But not too badly. We didn't have a whole lot of work to do coming back from Castlecombe, which was a novelty. We've done the usual, fresh set of tyres. That was about that. Done an oil change. Checked the car over.
Checked, we done a compression test,
Yeah.
just the normal
Stuff, it was nice.
But there wasn't any repairs or anything from...
No, not at all. Couple of bits and bobs, but really nothing major. It was good times.
So we had testing booked for Friday, and we went out on the first session, and we noticed that there was an issue where sometimes when I was on full throttle, there was like it felt to me like initially ignition cut. You know, when you change gear and
Flat shift.
Yeah,
for those.
right. Sorry, when you flat shift, there is ignition cut, and it will. I don't know how best to describe it, but it just felt that there was a momentary lack of power, which you suspected was down to a lambda sensor that just failed.
Well, we had a lambda sensor fail on us, and we weren't sure if this was going to be causing a problem with that. We weren't sure if it needed that reading from the sensor to do something to the ECU, which helped with ignition cut, etc, etc. So you nipped out away to Livingston after several frantic phone calls, picked up a new sensor, but unfortunately by the time you returned back from the traffic, we missed most of the day's testing, which wasn't the end of the world, but it would have been nice had we got out that evening to find out whether or not it cured this ignition cut problem. So moving on to Saturday, we had a bit of testing in the morning where we had practice for Superlap Scotland, and it went well.
It went okay. Well, it was the first time I have ever driven Knockhill in the opposite direction. So we went into qualifying with the modified Fords, and 2 or 3 laps into qualifying, there was a red flag.
Yep.
Everybody got punted into the pits, and upon leaving to go back onto the track, I held back and let everybody else go.
That was a good move.
Well, I thought it was going to be. I thought, there's Dave Cockle, I'll follow him for all of a corner or two, and then Dave Wazowski. But it gave me an opportunity in the qualifying window to have a bit of a gap to really stretch my legs. So managed to get one hot lap, and I was going on to my second hot lap, and what happened, Barry?
You didn't do that driver stuff very well, and you went over the chicane into the air, landed terribly, ne pois.
No, it wasn't a graceful landing.
It was not graceful. So ungraceful that a marshal will insert the picture, recovered our front prop shaft for us, which exited the group chat, sheared all the bolts, come flying out. Didn't do a bit of damage. Nothing. Took a couple of ribs off the gearbox, but I mean, we were lucky. And then we got back in the pits,
and we thought, well, we're in trouble because we don't have a
spare prop shaft.
A prop shaft. At this point, it was still in a marshal's post somewhere on the track. So we sent out the bat signal, and we made some phone calls, and lo and behold, there was a spare front prop shaft very close to us.
Very close, in fact so close some would say walking distance Dave Cockle brought a spare and graciously loaned us it for a weekend, which we are forever in his debt for. Didn't make us go any faster, mind you, didn't make us catch up with Dave.
Well, yeah. So in that qualifying session before the prop shaft exited the group channel, I did manage to get a hot enough lap on my first time round Knockhill anti-clockwise to qualify us into 6th position to start the race. So, go into the race, starting in 6th place. The lights go green. I accelerate, and a big giant Australian car just went right past us. The speed of that big Australian V8. Whoa! Not so much defending my line as jumping out the road.
Yeah, I don't fancy that in the rear view mirror for long. But, you know, I think you done well in the race. There was a couple of issues.
A couple of issues, yeah.
We worked out very quickly that the problem wasn't repaired by the lambda sensor.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be heat related. So in our morning session, we didn't have the problem. It heated up by the time we were out for qualifying, and that seemed to bring it on a bit more.
Yeah.
So
We just couldn't get to the bottom of what the problem was. We thought maybe it's got something to do with the fuel level, and when it's hotter and the fuel level drops down a wee bit, we were just getting these momentary. It was almost as if it was fuel cut.
Yeah.
And it was a worry because
detonation.
When you've got a turbo car, a big power turbo car, you kind of need the fuel.
Yeah, it's important. It's one of the magic ingredients, isn't it? Fuel.
Yeah. What happens if it doesn't get enough fuel bar?
It explodes.
It explodes.
Yeah, we end up with melted pistons.
So, as you can imagine, I was quite concerned in the race. So there was periods where I was backing off the minute I felt this hesitancy occur, and it meant
just your driving.
Well, probably I wasn't very assertive at the start of the race as well. I didn't just let the big V8 go, the big Aussie car go by me. I also let Dave Cockle, not Dave Cockle, beg your pardon, Paul Neville.
Yeah.
I actually swerved onto the grass to let him pass me. Anyway, so wasn't my best race, but we finished 3rd in class and 10th overall, which I was just glad we didn't get a DNF. We finished the race.
Yeah, you were going backwards, but hey, we're finished.
Yeah. So into Sunday. Now, on the Sunday, because we had not got to the bottom of this dangerously running lean carry-on, we were in two minds whether or not we were going to race.
Got fuel pressure issue. Our fuel baseline should be sitting at 3 bar all the time, but it rises with boost. So every PSI of boost, our fuel pressure regulator adds a PSI of fuel. but currently under boost it is sometimes dropping down and we're losing half a bar of pressure. Now, I've combated that by adjusting the fuel pressure regulator and adding more fuel in, but unfortunately that's now left a nasty hole in our fuel map, to quote a famous film. But our map's all out now, which means for Lloyd he's going to need to do some of that pedaling real hard because we're running quite rich. So we can't idle the car for long because we don't want to wash the bores. But we've had a look at the logs there, we're happy to go back out as long as his fuel pressure doesn't dip too low under boost. He's not going to ruin his engine.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I've got a real busy schedule next week. Please don't ruin your engine.
So that's the plan, is to not ruin the engine. However, how much influence I'm going to have over that, I don't know. Do we stay or do we go? Do we race or do we know?
Only you have the answer.
We were happy to go out. We'd found something that could have caused this, and we were happy to go ahead. Now,
But why? But
why wouldn't it flag up a fault?
so what you're saying is the PDM stopped supplying power to one of the fuel pumps
Yes.
and didn't give us any indication that it had done so.
No.
There was no error or warning. And how did we even find out that it wasn't getting power?
So on the data logs, it just had a flat line. It wasn't. There was no current going through the signal for it. None. Zero. No voltage, no current, nothing at all. So it just turned itself off. Now, after I'd had a bit of time to think about it, I was like, well, I guess the warning for the fuel pump is actually fuel pressure. So the warning hadn't come up on the dashboard for low fuel pressure
Because there was
because
still
there
another
was still
pump.
another, well, two
Yeah.
pumps.
Yeah.
Well, a lift pump and two feed pumps, and there was one of the feed pumps dropped down. So in theory, one pump is just about enough to actually run the car at the power itself. I'm not saying it's right, but
Yeah.
it
So-
was obviously doing that.
Thanks to Stephen and yourself,
No,
we
okay.
well, okay,
Actually,
well, thanks to Stephen, analysing the logs, we addressed the issue of the high pressure fuel pump not getting any power, and because of that, I felt confident enough to go and do the race, or well to qualify
right, yeah.
and then go and do the race. I qualified in 4th. Just ahead of me was Dave Cockle, Overden, and Josh. And at the start of the race, I got a good start. I managed to defend my position from the Australian V8 on the first lap. the straight to finish the first lap, we get the same
Fuel cut issue.
fuel cut. So I backed off as best I could, and it ultimately meant that I finished the second race in 6th place, but still third in class. So it was disappointing that all weekend, with the lambda sensor issue, with the prop shaft, with this fueling issue, that I don't think we got as good a run at it as we could have.
No. But what I will say is that over the weekend, between the two competitions, you done 87 laps.
87 laps on Knockhill.
That was a
Good going.
good going,
Yeah.
you know. And when we got back, we both scoped the engine, and there's no detonation, which we're all happy about. So we've now been investigating this fault, and it's looking like the fuel pressure regulator. So it's a TurboSmart one that we've got on there, and they're the best. You know, nobody makes a better component than they do. All their stuff is super high quality. We've been using it for years and years.
Well, you spoke to Rory
Spoke to Rory Jones,
about what the possible reason for this fueling issue
Yeah,
is.
we had a wee chat about it. Now he works for Matt Lewis. He deals with racing cars every day in life. And he's like, a TurboSmart one, and it failed. So we're going to fire the parts cannon at it, and hopefully it has just been a bit of bad luck. Now the car was sitting off the road for several months last year whilst it was being worked on. Has a bit of dirt got inside of it, has something damaged, has been dropped. Is it maybe our doing, unknown to us?
So, do you think it's a non-serviceable part, don't you? It needs a special tool to
Yeah,
get into
so
it.
the older stuff, you used to be able to service some parts of it. You could change diaphragms and springs, but with this one, it's a special tool to open it. And when I had a quick look on their website, it didn't seem that the model we've got, it's Dash 6, a 1200 model. It doesn't look like there's any serviceable items that are available from TurboSmart or their suppliers. So we went out and bought a new one. Has it arrived yet?
Not yet. No.
So bought a new one of them, so we're going to get that in this week. We're down at Andrews at some point towards the end of the week, depending on his schedule and ours, to get a bit of mapping done.
So before we go into preparations for Donington, which is only like in 2 weeks, if that, away, Knockhill, it was a great weekend. We were really lucky that we had good weather, and it was well supported. There was a lot of people had made the trip up north.
And a lot of people from a long way away. The Ovnans travelled from
they're on the south coast or something. Yeah,
they're miles away.
They had
Josh
to get
Payton-
jags from the doctors before they even made the trip north of the border.
Did they?
Yeah, exotic malaria drugs and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
I wonder if it was in the same time zone.
No, of course not.
No?
No, it's different. It's different. I know that Josh Payton and his family, they travelled up. They didn't need to get jags because they're from Bristol. They've already got them all down.
What's happening at Alvin the Crack?
What's happening? Tell you what's happening. We're just back here from Knockhill for the modified Ford series, innit?
How did you do?
I came third in that, innit? It was right good. Went up there, great hosts. And Barry and Lloyd are right nice guys. They're up, they gave me a run for my money in me Cortina. But I'm back here and I've upgraded into Cosworth life. Having a great time. Having a crack.
I mean, for half of these English people that go back down the road with some Scottish money and then go and try and spend it. Yeah.
You can't spend that here, mate.
No. You'll feel our pain when you go to a petrol station down south with a Scottish £20 note.
It's legal tender. It's legal tender. You spend it.
Right. Well, our pal Piers, they made the trip up with his brother and Shannon.
Yeah, it's our birthday that weekend as well.
So Melissa and Barry were by the side of the track Would you care to do your Shannon?
I can't do it as good as Mark's
So
good at
he
it.
was on the phone. She was on the phone
to her mum.
to her mum.
He goes, Mum, he's fucking been there on my birthday weekend.
Piers
My
was
birthday.
okay.
And he's binned it. He's binned it, Mum.
Is he okay?
I don't know, it's my birthday.
So thanks to everyone who made the trip up. Dave Cockle, cool as cucumber, done the double, qualified in pole, led both the races from start to finish. He is the benchmark, and moving forward, the next race is at Donington, his home track, and I believe there is a small Welsh dragon that is making the trip to Donington.
Is
So
Jason Davies coming along?
it's going to
You
be,
spoke to him during the week.
yeah, I think we're going to see. And who else's home track is Donington?
James Allen, and I believe he's sponsoring the round this weekend, or the weekend coming.
He's just finishing his next bestseller, as far as I would. Racing Excuses Volume 2
Oh,
by
right.
James Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big book.
Yeah.
I got the abridged version, didn't make it all the way through. Still a big book.
I tried to listen to the audio version, but you cheeky monkey, you tell us every time we do a video we need subtitles, which is I don't.
True.
It's probably true. Yeah.
Probably true.
So-
Yeah, you know what else got the weekend though? We just slide out of shot. Lloyd got first.
So as well as the modified Fords, we also entered Super Lap Scotland, which was a Knockhill's version of Time Attack. So you do qualifying sessions all day, which decide the starting position for the final. So basically it's a one lap shootout, and during the day we'd used it just to get some laps in, just because we'd never driven the track in
It was
the
really worthwhile.
anti-clockwise. Yeah, so it was good to get.
Really worthwhile.
It was good to get some laps in to help us with the modified Fords. But we went into the final in like the fastest speed up, fastest lap up until then. So we were going to be the very last driver out in the final of the Super Lap. We had 2 warm-up laps, and then the one lap that counts. So it doesn't matter what your lap times have been all day, it's all just down to the single lap that you've got to do. And
You actually done it.
done it.
You went out there and done that driver stuff. Yeah, I was really proud of you.
It's not like me,
No.
but when it counted, we managed to actually do the fastest lap we've done all day. Now, fortunately, it wasn't the Sunday, because Andrew Gallagher was competing on the Sunday, and
Done like I don't know, a 22 or something. God.
yeah.